Hey guys, Eric and Roth here. We're talking about the Arrow Season 3 mid-season finale. Full spoilers. If you haven't seen it, it's big spoilers. We're about to talk about it. You still here? Okay. Let's talk about The Climb. Big episode. We've gotten a little tease of Ra's al Ghul. That's the pronunciation I'm going with, guys. Tease of him, but this was really the episode where we met him in full, got to see what he was like, and he kicked Oliver's ass. He literally kicked him off a cliff.
It was brutal. And I think the thing that was so great about it for me watching it was that he had no shot. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? It was such a definitive defeat to actually stand there with his hand behind his back. This is a man who keeps his promises and say, I'm about to take your weapons and kill you. Don't worry about me. And then do it about a minute later.
Yeah.
You know? I loved it. I know that fans, there will probably be some debate about this depiction, and there was some concern about this, just sort of the look of the actor and things like that. I thought that he had those traits that he needed to have in terms of being a man of honor, having this absolute code. There was a dignity to him, but he was also a little bit dirty Harry. You know, he was rough and gritty and dangerous and a bit of a brawler, and I really loved it.
Yeah, Ra's al Ghul, obviously a huge villain from DC Comics, Batman specifically, and then because of the Nolan movies, a mainstream audience knows who he is and thinks of Liam Neeson. And so, yeah, not just a Neeson depiction, but especially from the comics, he's very much this, like, nobleman. And there was something about Matt Nable where people were like, I don't know, he doesn't quite he looks a little grittier. And then, seeing him play the part more last night in the episode, it was not quite the just sort of upper crust depiction.
Right.
There was this sort of guy who almost seemed like he could go into a bar and start something. But mixed in with that was he did have a code of honor. He did have, a sort of a set of his own rules and ethics. I thought it worked. It was a different angle on Ra's al Ghul, but I think it was one that wasn't so crazy that it like, oh, you ruined the character. It was like, no, this is a different version on a character that is very familiar, so let's do our own twist on it.
I mean, there really was a nobility, right? Like, he brutally killed him. However, he wasn't gloating. He wasn't boasty. It was just sort of matter of fact, like, I'm going to do this, and then he did.
Yeah.
And he gave him as graceful an end as he could,
right.
As honorable an end as he could when you were stabbing somebody through the ribs and tossing them off, chucking them off a cliff, you know what I mean? He really did. So, I mean, I think that he is now established as, obviously, as he needed to be, the most unbeatable, potentially, foe that they've ever come up against, right? Now, let's get to the idea of, I hope I'm not jumping the shark, but like Oliver, dead or alive, dead-ish, I assume, but he's coming back, and let's talk about why.
Yeah, I mean, look, okay, the show's called Arrow. Stephen Amell is the star. There was no contract dispute. He's still the star of the show. But they are obviously going all in on the Lazarus Pit.
Right.
And again, Nolan movies, they were great, but very much would never embrace the supernatural elements of Batman or the DC universe. So they made a little nod to the legend of Ra's al Ghul being older, but they weren't really going to do that. Here, we already saw a tease of the Lazarus Pits when we met him, but he also mentions a battle 67 years before to tell you this guy is centuries old.
Right.
And this clearly is going to be, I say clearly, maybe not, but I think pretty clearly this is how Oliver will be saved, right, by the Lazarus Pit.
Yeah, and I think it's probably going to be, they've reintroduced, and forgive me if I'm brutalizing this name, but Masio.
Yeah.
They've established him in the flashbacks all season long. He has, suffered this great loss, come back, been reintroduced with the League,
right.
And I think this is the guy that's probably going to break a little bit and take Oliver to the Lazarus Pits, and that's how he's going to survive.
Yeah, and I think these are all easy assumptions and not even hugely spoilery because I think they've kind of presented it all to you. What I think the interesting story will be now, of course, is how does Oliver come back from this? I mean, having faced a guy who just decimated him in this way, what can he do?
What more training can he do?
Right.
I mean, he just doesn't have the years of the experience that he has, I don't know the answer to that, right? Like he might have to do some unlikely team ups and things like that. Is he going to have to shoot up with Samira Ku? I don't know.
But what I really like about this and what I like about this episode is it really did, I think, help sort of define the season better because I love Arrow. but I did think that season 3 had not been as strong as season 2. It felt a little less cohesive. The search for Sarah's killer had not really sort of come into focus or taken center stage, and it just didn't really have a center as much. Now we've got the big villain we needed, and it's one that we wanted to deliver, and that's what's so satisfying about this. So it makes me very excited to see the second half of the season, because as much as I love the show, I just wasn't as engaged as I had been, and now I'm much more like, okay, I want to see where this goes.
I do too. I will say, obviously Thea has been revealed to be Sarah's killer, which was something that we had theorized about previously because of all of the evidence and so forth and so on. I'm a little disappointed by the brainwashing aspect of it, because I think it would have been such a richer and more interesting internal conflict for her to have done it, whether she did it to protect her dad or whatever, not knowing who she was, not necessarily knowing who she was killing, to have that conflict with herself, but also to really have to take responsibility with Laurel, with Oliver, and now it's like, oh, well, pass card, I didn't really know what I was doing.
I hope there's more to it, and I think there probably will be, because it was kind of a weak reveal. Even the whole, like, hey, let me show you a cell phone video of your sister killing. I feel like there's got to be more to it. And yes, the idea of, like, sort of dark evil Thea is just more exciting, and just that little scene of her fighting Arrow.
Please don't kill me.
Right. That was fun. So even if it's not her at all, I do hope there's more to it, just because, just that kind of, and yes, whoever killed her, whether it's Thea or someone else being brainwashed, is never going to be a satisfying.
No.
You want it to be a betrayal. The fact that Sarah knew who it was, there has to be something more of importance there than just, oh, that person was brainwashed. That's not satisfying.
Not at all. Not at all. I'm hoping they either, I'm hoping that when we come back, from the break, they're going to reveal, Malcolm's he's just a liar. And he was lying about that.
Well, we shall see. Although, John Barrowman said to me that Malcolm never lies. That's his whole thing. But I don't, there's malleable. There's we'll see. That's what we thought. Overall, really excited by this. Really excited by Ra's al Ghul. What did you think? Do you like this depiction of him? Do you think Oliver the Lazarus Pit is the key to the Arrow continuing and not ending? Let us know in the comments. For plenty more on Arrow, keep it here at IGN.